Okay, we've started. Oh, let's start that again. Hang on.
Take two.
Take two. Good evening and welcome to the Manchester is Blue show. It's going to be one of those shows, lads. I've got a feeling already. Problems with the microphone. I can't talk and Dan's getting pissed. It's always a good night like that, isn't it? It was always good fun. Hope you had a good week, lads. Are you two okay?
Yeah, double well, mate.
Fantastic.
Steady away, aye.
Keeping busy?
Definitely.
Good.
Keeping out of trouble.
Oh, that's boring though, isn't it? We've got some great...
I can't agree with that one.
We've got some great topics to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the Champions League draw, City versus Everton, bit of a chat about the England squad. We've got a topic, a new one for tonight, Yaya Toure versus KDB. Who would you have in the prime? Bit of news about City removing some more rows, some more seats in the back, and we've got a couple of questions coming as well. So more seats are being removed to put more billboards in. Dan, I think you sent that through. We can have a chat about that shortly. It's happening again. They're doing it again to us. That's the third time that's happened. So we'll jump straight in, lads, because tomorrow morning, our Champions League fate will be put in front of us. We'll not only know who we're playing in the quarterfinals, but if we beat them, we'll know who we're playing in the semi-finals as well. Massive draw tomorrow, but we've been here before, lads. We've been here before. Quarterfinals. What's going to happen? What's going to be different?
I don't think anything's going to be different. So it all comes down to like RNG tomorrow, doesn't it? How random the draw is going to be. We could get the easiest draw, or we could get stuck with three of the most difficult teams left. But we've got to beat them at some point, I guess. That's
always been my mentality with that. We've got to play the best at some point to win the good trophies. That doesn't get away from the fact I fully want Porto in the next round. I think most teams do, but I get a feeling we could draw English teams tomorrow, can't we? I'm right in thinking that. I've just got a strange feeling we're going to get Chelsea. I don't know why. I just think they're looking really good at the moment. I think they're an outsider to win this competition. You know, for me, Chelsea. I think there's just something about them at the moment where they're just ticking at the right time, and they could be getting into a bit of form. But Dan, what's your thoughts into the draw tomorrow, pal?
Well, my heart's telling me I want whoever, because you've got to beat the best to be the best, aren't you? Let's be honest. Bayern are outright favourites, no matter what the bookies said. Bayern, they've won it last year. They've got one hell of a squad. They're building every year, young squad as well. On top of that, and they're finding form. But yeah, Chelsea are another one that they just suddenly rose from the ashes of Frank Lampard, and Thomas Tuchel's playing great football despite being a weird sort of bloke. If you see him on touchline, he's just does nothing but fret about his team, and he's trying to do the Guardiola style tactics of telling them what to do when the camera's on him, and then off it he's shredding his own players and what have you, bringing them off after only bringing them on. I don't know how the hell he's making them click, to be fair, because they are becoming a unit. But them aside, my brain is telling me get Porto, get the so-called easier teams out the way. Then you're not putting too much energy, and then when you come to face the bigger teams, you've got it. But I don't care. Whoever it is, we're going to smash them.
So let's give a rundown of who we can face in the draw tomorrow. We've got Chelsea, Bayern, Liverpool, PSG, Dortmund, Porto, Real Madrid. So I want Porto, but I'm fully aware that we've had a good chance against Spurs. Didn't happen. We had a good chance against Lyon. Didn't happen. So I'm kind of inclined to say, do you know what? Let's just get Bayern, get it done with. If we can go in there and hit them hard and get it, but I think we need to break that mental duck of getting to a semi-final with Pep. I really do think the team needs to get past this round, and it's not going to be easy, is it? Is it over 2 legs again, or is it back to 1 leg? It's over 2 legs.
2 legs.
See,
yeah.
Here's the thing: City with Pep over 2 legs. I am very confident that we can beat anybody. Very confident. It's the 1-legger against a team where anything could happen, like United game a few weeks ago, like the Lyon game. Lyon played us really well. It's just little things like that that just bug me a little bit. But with over 2 legs, I'd fancy us against any of that lot.
Dream scenario for me is Dortmund, Bayern, and Liverpool in the final. Dortmund, because then we can and kick Sancho out the window. Bayern, say Sané, do one. And then Liverpool, just to put the nail in the coffin of how bad their season's been, and make it to a final.
The problem is, I think Liverpool could beat us in a final.
I want Liverpool in the next round, and I want to absolutely smash him and ruin their season. I really do. We owe it them. We owe it them again. We was part of the reason they've done this run now, and we'll smash them, demoralise them while they've got no players back. Do it again. Why not? Enjoy it. Liverpool next round for me would be the draw.
Would it really? Is that what you're hoping for?
Really would. Liverpool next round, and after that, once it gets to the semi-finals, doesn't really matter to me. It's 3 games and you've won it. You know, but I want Liverpool. Something that one when
you're firing for this as well, aren't you?
Because we've done this. We've got rid of the hoodoo at Anfield. We've demoralised them. The next one, do it again, and then there's no better time to play them. They're low. They're at our lowest right now. They might have won the other night, but sorry, let's have them now. Let's give another paste in. Move on.
So Liverpool, the last 5 games, they've won 3 and drawn and lost 2. Porto have won 2 and lost 2 and drawn 1. The only one with 5 wins is Bayern. So obviously they're well in form at the moment. But of all the teams, they've all won the last game or last 2 games.
Well, there's one good thing about the draw tomorrow is, of all the teams and all the leagues, we are the one that has got it most comfortable domestically in terms of points and stuff. We really have. You know, Real Madrid struggling. Bayern Munich aren't really that clear at the top. Paris Saint-Germain aren't top of their league. You know, they're not flying. Borussia Dortmund, they're beatable. They've got 2 good players. You know. Well, they really haven't. They've got two really good players. Other than that, they're beatable. So then you look at Chelsea's the only other team. I mean, we avoid them, but I still think over 2 legs, like Tom's just said, we'll beat them. You know, if you wanted to beat Liverpool in the final, that gives them 3 months down the line to be better equipped, and you don't want that. You want them now. Get them out. Get them gone. But let it be us that puts them out. I think we deserve that opportunity to give them put the wrongs right in the Champions League with them. And how sweet would it be if we was to beat them to go on to win it? You know, all this, you never won a Champions League, you've not done this, you've not done that. Well, we'll just smash you on the way to winning the quadruple. So how do you feel now?
He's got it all planned out.
Go on, son.
Oh, you're making me so excited to draw in Liverpool now. It's unbelievable. I don't know. It's a tough one, isn't it? It really is. It really is a tough one. I'm just trying to look when the game's actually going to take place. So the game's going to be taking place on the 6th and 7th and 13th and 14th of April.
It's back-to-back weeks, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's like
Tuesday, Wednesday.
3 weeks away. So 3 weeks away. Hang on. Excuse me. I'm allergic to talking about Liverpool. Oh, massive. So where I'm getting at with me, the way I feel about this is over 2 legs we can beat anyone. I want us to get an easy draw because I want to get through the quarterfinals. But there's no easy draw. I still think Porto have got a lot to offer. We thought Lyon was going to be a walkover, even though we never said that. But we all secretly thought we should be beating them. And we should have beaten them. That's the problem. On paper, we should have absolutely steamed them, but we didn't. But over 2 legs, I think we could beat 50% of those teams, maybe higher percentage of those teams.
Ideal scenario tomorrow. You want Bayern Munich to draw either Chelsea or to draw PSG.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that, you want Dortmund as well. All 4 of them on that one side. I'm happy with the rest of them, but if you can get all 4 of them on one side of the draw, you know that means only one of us make it to the final.
I'd like to.
And the thing is with Dortmund would probably kind of be relishing if they could play Bayern, you know, because that's the sort of game where I don't know if you've watched those games this season. They've gone either way. They've been ding dongs, you know. So let them knock bells out of each other over there, you know, and chuck Chelsea in there because Chelsea have a bit of form now. Let another team worry about those. So I generally think that if you was to put them in that side of the draw, Bayern Munich could see Chelsea off quite easily.
See, the thing with me is there's no particular draw that I wouldn't mind, but Porto are one of those that I wouldn't exactly be over the moon about, if you know what I mean. I mean, yes, Juventus aren't exactly the elite anymore from what they used to be. You know, this season in Serie A, they've just disintegrated. You know, Inter are taken away with it now. But the way Porto defended and played that game they played them off the park. It was all Juventus with the possession. But the proper football, when it came down to the nitty-gritty and proper defending and then attacking, it was Porto. And when Juventus slowly started to come back into it, they just bagged a goal, and it shattered the mentality. And
they may be the weakest team in the draw on sort of paper, really. But to get to this stage now, they deserve to be there regardless. So
100%.
You know, write them off at your peril. They could end up in the final. You never know.
They've got the Ajax.
Yeah, they have. Although Porto have been there and won it before, they've done something we've not done. They've been there, won it with arguably a weaker team they had at the time. Just had Mourinho, didn't they? But they proved they can go out and win it.
Yeah, 100%.
But why not?
Who would be
moralised his confidence now?
Dan, who would be your dream final?
Dream final.
It's a tough one, that, isn't it? Because there's loads of factors to take into that question as well, which is a toughie.
Liverpool. To be fair, I'm only saying that just because I prefer it being Liverpool, because exactly what Brian said, you know, just smash them off the park. But I prefer to do it in a final just to.
But by then, no, Dan, you never know what sort of form they're going to be in and what sort of players are going to come back.
Would it differ? You know?
Liverpool in the Champions League final are a different kind of animal, aren't they?
The Liverpool in the Champions League are phenomenal. And if they get to the final of the Champions League, there's a very good chance they've got an unbeaten run to do that, not just in
a little bit of form to get there.
Champions League, but in the Premier League as well, and that would be worrying.
I personally would love it to be Real Madrid final, because they're like Europe's most successful team, you know, and why not? It's a bit of romance there. Why not Real Madrid? They've won it 3 times out of the last 5 years, right? Why not?
See, the thing with me, I say Liverpool. I wouldn't mind Real Madrid. Real Madrid's last time we played them, we were unlucky not to go through, you know, to the final. You know, I think it was only 1 goal by Ronaldo, wasn't it, that tipped it over the edge. And I don't mind, but the thing that really gives me a lot of confidence, we're not really talking about this, you know, as much confidence as you'd expect going into just one game. I know Brian's like, yeah, we'll smash everyone, sod it, we're going to win the quadruple. But the game on Tuesday was the first time this season we played a game and Pep's had a full squad to pick from. A full squad. And like Brian said, where the season domestically is, you know, getting close to wrapped up for us. You know, it's a long way off. We're only 14 points clear and plenty of games to play. But the rotation that Pep's been doing has been key to how we've been doing in the league. Now, you know, we especially during the Gladbach game, when we started making the first couple of substitutions, I think it was Zinchenko and Fernandinho that came on. I looked at that and think, hang on, is this team actually getting weaker, or are we just here? You know, we're bringing on Fernandinho, arguably one of the best defensive midfielders in the Premier League's ever seen. Zinchenko, that's in the form of his life. You're taking them on. You could argue we're sort of improving the team, and they are not exactly first choice players. So,
and adding to that, Dan, as well. By the time this quarterfinal's over, we're probably only going to be maybe 1 or 2 games away from winning the league.
Yeah.
And you got to think by then, the rotation will favour the Champions League, so we're going to be very strong.
Yeah.
If we can get through the quarters.
Well,
it's clear to see that Pep will be focusing, FA Cup and League Cup aside, Champions League is what Pep's focusing on. We're seeing that from the team selections. The team selection at the weekend compared to the team selection on Tuesday, you can 100% Pep's going for the Champions League.
Let me just now. You two know that what I say now is just factual, not me thinking this is what could happen. Just to put this into record's sake, City need 14 points to win the Premier League. Okay, if we keep winning, we can do it by the 8th of May. That's with 3 games to spare. Okay. However, if United drop points, City could be crowned champions in April. And with the Champions League semi-final scheduled for the last week of April and the first week of May, that could make some very difficult selection headaches for Pep of how he's going to play and the teams we're going to be putting up against. If we've won the league already by a canter, you know those last 2 or 3 Premier League games we're going to be seeing the Ake's, you know, the Torreses, etc., etc. There's going to be massive changes, isn't there?
Well, yeah, and that's assuming that the teams around us will win all their games, which they've got to play each other anyway. So I think it'll probably be. I've said it. I think 4 more win, 12 more points. We'll say 40. It's 18 mathematically or whatever it is. But
14,
I think
14.
14. I think 3 more wins is 4 more wins and it's over. It's done.
And
so,
plus, we've got to remember United and Leicester play each other still.
Yeah. So and we play Leicester as well coming up soon. So that is.
One of them two are going to nick a point.
Yeah, so that's when you lose more points. So I think realistically, you're looking at maybe just 4 wins between now and the end of the season is enough. You know, and if we manage to get 2 of those before we start approaching the semi-finals, then
dream scenario: we beat Leicester, Leicester beat United. Dreams,
very, very, very possible.
That is very possible. I'm worried about the Leicester game. You know, I know we're not going to talk about it because it's Champions League time. But I'm a little bit conscious of that Leicester game. I think I always had. I was conscious.
1 game at a time, mate. 1 game at a time.
Very well
just
said.
worry about Everton on Saturday.
Very well said.
Just
right.
1 game at a time.
Right, we're moving on. So, what are you laughing at?
No.
1 game at a time. Let's talk about City Everton this weekend. We go into another quarter-final, FA Cup, on good form. Have Everton got a full strength squad? Do we know?
They haven't.
No.
They're missing a few. Pickford's missing. Calvert-Lewin's injured, I think. Oh, he's not fit enough to start. I don't think. I know he's in England squad, but I don't think he's fit enough to start. But they're missing a few.
A lot of players out of form as well.
You know, it's a funny one with Everton. They could turn up and be world beaters. I saw a meme the other day, and it was somebody taking the mick out of Ancelotti saying 1 week we're shit, 1 week we're good, 1 week we're shit, 1 week we're good, and it's one of them where it's so true for them.
How did they play last week?
Yeah.
Pretty good, yeah. So got beat last week, didn't they?
Oh, this is the time to turn up then, is it?
Yeah.
Crikey. But it's a funny one, isn't it, with this game? Because, like I've said before, if the best City team turn up, we're going to absolutely steamroll them. I've got no issues whatsoever. Brian, how do you see the game going?
I said then, I don't think we've got like Dan alluded to a minute ago, we've got a full strength team. So we pick the team that's right for the weekend based on just the health of the squad, really. You know, if players are fit, they will play. You know, I mean, it's the international break, so it is going to be our strongest team at the weekend.
Yeah.
I feel like our strongest team, even if we only out getting to, even if we're in second, third gear, we're enough to beat anybody domestically. So I feel like if we was to put a full strength team out, third gear, I think that would be far too much for Everton. So even them on a really, really good day, I still don't feel like we need to get much out of third gear, really. Just the way we've been playing recently, we've not been the best. You know, we've suffered a loss and we've looked a bit shaky for periods in games, but I feel like this team at the minute will be enough for Everton.
Have we got score predictions in us, lads? What we're thinking for the game then?
Are we Goodison or Etihad?
Goodison, yeah.
Yeah, Goodison.
Ooh, I'm going for a 3-0 win then. Somewhat really confidence-based about it for me.
You're not worried, are you?
Not. I don't like it. I don't like feeling like this, but I'm not worried at all. But then again, I was probably out of all of us the most confident going into the derby, and look how that turned out. But you know, Everton aren't the bogey team they were a while ago. This team, like you were saying, 1 week they're good, 1 week they're shit. You just don't know what Everton are going to turn out. But they're missing 2 key players. As much as Pickford gets berated, he is a focal point for them. And Calvert-Lewin's a goal machine. Yes, Richarlison's been banging him in a lot more frequently recently, and he scored against us in the previous match we played this league. It's just something that just Everton haven't got it in the locker at all. So yeah, I'm going for a nice, easy 3-0 win.
Have Everton lost the last 2 games?
They lost the previous one. I don't know about.
Yeah,
2.
they've lost. So their last 5 games, they've won 3, lost 2.
Yeah, they got beat by Chelsea and they lost at home to Burnley.
Right. So of course he did. Of course he did. Yeah, I remember listening to it on 606. the game for them is massive, but they've got to be thinking to themselves, they want Champions League football, or they want a top 5 position, don't they? In my mindset, I mean, to be fair, they're on 46 points. I know it's not Premier League, but I'm thinking in Premier League terms of how they're playing. I think they're going to be more focused on the Premier League than they are the league. I don't think they're going to stick all guns blazing out against City. I think they're going to take it on the chin.
Yeah, I disagree with you, Dan, only because it's the international break. Sorry, Tom. It's international break. You know what you're protecting. Who you're trying to protect with these players?
That's a fair point. Yeah, I forgot about that.
You know what I mean? If it was the next game was a league game midweek, you could probably understand maybe.
Yeah, it's a fair argument actually, Brian. I never thought.
I think like they're going to try. Look, they're going to put their best team out. Like I said, I don't think it's going to be difficult for us. I think in a minute, the only way we're going to lose is if we beat ourselves. We don't play what we usually do, and I don't think for 1 second Pep's going to let that happen. And if it is happening, you're guaranteed he's going to make a change. You know, we've got players, we've got a whole squad to choose from. If something's not happening after 45, 50, 60 minutes, players will be hooked off. Simple as that.
So the international then, is that next weekend, the internationals? Or is
starts on Wednesday. So it starts on Wednesday, I believe.
Right,
it's a full week.
Okay. Wednesday and a Sunday, I guess. Oh, no, it's 3 games, isn't there?
It's 3 games in a week.
So come on then, Brian. Score prediction for the FA Cup game?
I think we're going to absolutely smash them 5-0.
Whoa, that's a
just
bold
generally
statement.
feel like, I just feel like Pep's going to put out a strongest team. There's nothing to worry about. There's no, strongest team available. You look at players like Sterling and itching to get back in, so these players are coming in now knowing that the next 10 games are season defining, and Pep is going to be drilling them every day. You need to be on this. You get your chance, you've got to take it. There are spots to be earned. There's a place in this team where we've got a cup final coming up. The league's about to be wrapped up. There's a quarter final of Champions League during a few weeks. You have got to be up for it. So anybody who plays in this team this weekend and doesn't do very well, you got to worry about whether or not they're going to get a game next time. So that is on them. The squad is primed for being at its peak at the minute. We're sports teams, boxers, golfers, this. They train for the peak, and we are now at the peak of the season where everything's in our favour. So we're at that peak, we're at that level. Got to just go with it and just flow.
Lovely. Right, confidence there from the boys. You can watch the game on BT Sport. It's a 5:30 kickoff at Goodison. I don't think away advantage has anything to play in this anymore, does it? So I'm confident. I think, like Brian said, if the City team that we know and love turns up, I don't think they've got a cat and house chance. But this is football. Anything daft can happen. If we do get knocked out, it gives more focus to other things. But I'd really disappointed if we got knocked out at this stage. I think we need to roll on and do the best we can. One thing to mention on our Facebook and Instagram page, we're giving away. I don't know if you lads have seen this. This is a cracking prize. Vincent Kompany signed montage and shirt. It's like the shirts behind me, but it's got like LED lights around the frame. It looks stunning. I need to know where I can get those LEDs for my frames. So if you can jump on our Facebook page, you can see that, and you can sign up for that. 99 tickets are available, and they are selling out very, very, very fast, as you can imagine. It's a cracking little prize. So now we move on to England. Now some surprises there for the England squad in general. I'm not overly enthralled by the squad, I must say. I think I've seen better, stronger England squads. However, I am laughing when I say that. However, I am very happy to say that John Stones in the squad, Sterling's in the squad, Kyle Walker's in the squad, and Phil Foden's in the squad. I think we knew Phil was going to be in because the under-21s got announced yesterday and he wasn't in it. So obviously that, and if Gareth Southgate didn't choose him, there'd be something massively wrong there. But what's your thoughts? We'll talk about the City lads first, and we'll talk about the wider squad in general. Dan, what's your thoughts about the 4 players which we want to be kept in bubble wrap, not played and not injured for the next 2 weeks?
I kind of like it because at least these players will still get game time, and match fitness will still be there. It keeps them fresh, it keeps them focused more than anything. If they have a couple of weeks off watching other lads play and just be training on their own or at the academy, and they're they're not getting match fitness. And one of the games is San Marino. If we don't beat San Marino, then the players that have gone on international duty that play shouldn't be playing for City. Let's put it that way. San Marino are shocking, obviously. But,
do you know what? I went to an England game against San Marino at Wembley, and San Marino scored
not in the first 15
we scored
seconds.
In the first couple of seconds, and I tell you what, I was like, what? I was only young.
Yeah, I remember watching on TV. Like,
I was like,
I knew San Marino.
What's going on here? And I was going in thinking we're going to beat them 10-0. They scored. I'm like, what is going on here?
6-1 in the end, wasn't it?
I can't remember. But that was the original Wembley, Dan. Just so you know, we didn't have.
Talking early 90s.
Oh, mid-90s, I think.
Yeah.
Oh well, I was only just born, so you know that throws the span out the works. You
youngins, you don't know you're born.
There was basically, Dan. Before the Wembley Stadium as it is now, there used to be another stadium. Just
I know that. I thought you were going with somewhere with that then. But no. All things aside, the teams we're playing are teams we should beat.
Yeah, we got Sam. Just to give everyone a running order, because I didn't know this. I'll be honest. So I'm looking at this for the first time. Thursday the 25th, 8:45 kickoff. England versus San Marino. Marino. San Marino.
Jose could probably get a game for them, to be fair.
Parking the bus! San Marino's parking the bus. Sunday the 28th, 5 o'clock, Albania versus England. So we're going to see a lot of drug lords play England. And then it is Poland versus England on Wednesday the 31st, 8:45 kickoff. We've got 3 England games. I tell you what, I don't want to see John Stones and Phil Foden playing all those games. I
wouldn't mind seeing him play the first 2 and then let him have the last one off. But
yeah, I'm with you.
The first one's a nothing game, so I wouldn't worry about anybody if there was to play in that. The Albania one's not much of a step up from that, but the Poland game will be a tough game.
It will.
You know, that'll be the strongest England team will be out in that one, so you'd like to think Stones would be in that starting lineup.
Yeah,
and probably Kyle Walker.
I'm glad it's no fans in it. I don't know if you two watched that programme about Albania drug lords on Netflix recently. It's brilliant. If you get a chance to watch it, I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but if you get a chance to watch it, it's great. Where were we up to then? Who have I just said that? It's Phil Foden, Kyle Walker, Sterling. Do you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Sterling in these games. I think he needs a confidence boost. I'm not particularly, and he needs a bit more. I don't know with Sterling. Do we want him to be playing or do we want him to be focusing on City? Because it's a tough one. What do you two feel about that?
I want him to play against San Marino and scored 9 goals.
100%. He needs it. He's been. What, 4 or 5 games ago, we did a live, Tom, and I was saying Sterling, he's on the edge of some top form here. He's starting to run at defenders and beat defenders. Now look at him. He can't even keep the ball for longer than 5 seconds without losing it. Everything he tries on passes, it seems to go wayward. He's just suddenly turned awful, and that's not an exaggerated term. He has literally been awful in the past few games. I don't know what the hell has happened to him. This whole rubbish with media, we know how media can affect a player, like Bernardo Silva, for instance. Completely different story, but it does get to him, I think, and there's no truth in what happened between him and Pep. Stones came out and said it's rotation, that's what it is. But he'd be lucky to get in this City team. So I think playing for England right now is his time away from the club. Get a couple of goals or assists, or just have a good game throughout. Hopefully he can kick that on through the international and then come back for City all guns blazing, because he really needs it. Really needs it.
I wouldn't mind seeing Foden start against San Marino as well, because somebody like Phil Foden will just destroy them. You know, playing him on that left side of a midfield three, just destroy him.
The modern Gaza.
Yeah, get him in there now. Let him. Look, we all know that the competition is not exactly that difficult, but we'll let him in there and have a get. You know, for him, it's like having a knockabout against an under-18 team for Phil Foden. It's like that's the sort of standard. You know, so he'd be just dominating. You would think.
I'm gonna run through the squad, lads, just to give this a bit more airtime, because I think it needs doing, because there's some names in here which are new to the England squad. It's quite an exciting young squad, actually, to be fair. So, you know, fair play. I just think we look a bit weak in midfield. Goalkeepers, Dean Henderson, Sam Johnson, who I think that's Sam's first call-up, isn't it, for West Brom? Yeah. Nick Pope, well done, lads. Defenders, Ben Chilwell, Conor Cody, Eric Dyer. What's he doing in here again? Reece James, Harry Maguire, Tyrone Mings, Luke Shaw, John Stones, Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker. Kieran Trippier I can understand, Kyle Walker I can understand, John Stones I can understand. Luke
No
Shaw,
Trent Alexander-Arnold.
no Trent
No,
Alexander-Arnold.
he was actually dropped. They were the words out of Gareth Southgate's mouth. His
Oh,
form's
wow,
not
I
been
didn't
good
know
enough.
that.
Yeah, his form's not been good enough, and he's still back and do what he was doing the last couple of years.
Did he say that as well?
Southgate.
Gareth Southgate with a pair of bollocks. Well done, big lad. Chilwell can understand. Do you know what, actually, to be fair, it's not a bad set of defenders that. I'm looking at that. I'm thinking Kyle Walker, Trippier, Stones, Luke Shaw.
We know the starting lineup though. Let's be honest. The strongest back line for England is Pope, Walker, Shaw, Stones, and Maguire, hands down.
Walker, who's say that again? Pope, Walker, Stones.
Pope,
Shaw.
Walker, Stones, Maguire, and Shaw.
Okay, yeah.
That's England's strongest.
You've
back
probably
line.
seen him play. You've probably seen him play 5 at the back in some of them games as well.
Oh
which
God,
would
he
probably
will. Yeah.
That's when you see like Tyrone Mings coming in on the left hand side of that, or maybe even Kyle Walker playing right side of a 3.
And to be fair, Conor Cody, I know he's a.
I like Conor Cody. I'm a fan of Conor Cody. I think he's a good player. Yeah.
There's a lot of positives there, I think, for an England squad. Working into midfield, got Jude Bellingham, who's obviously at Dortmund. Phil Foden, Lingard, Mason Mount, Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice. What are you laughing at? Ward Prowse.
Lingard.
What are you laughing at?
He said it's a youthful team. He's got a long time, and Lingard is still young.
How old is he? 27?
That's the meme, though, isn't it? Oh,
he's 21, isn't he, Lingard? He's got a young career.
About 40, isn't he? What's your thoughts on Jude Bellingham?
You
like
why
him,
not?
don't you, Dan?
Yeah. I rated him so much at Birmingham, and it's quite right. He moved abroad. A lot of English players are moving abroad. British players are moving abroad, and they're really getting game time and showing what they're worth. He's slowly but surely starting to make a presence known in Dortmund. Obviously, he's got the likes of Rose in his way at the moment, who's turned into an attacking midfielder rather than a wide player. And Witsel in his way, but he is starting to make strides. And the lad, I think he's only 18 still, 17 or 18.
17 he is, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant for his age, and he was smashing him in for Birmingham last year. That lad has Ballon d'Or written all over him, and it's not a name you just throw out and think, oh, you're only saying that because
it's a big call. It's a big call. Somebody clip it and remember this.
He's got everything. He really has got everything for an attacking. Well, he's your old-fashioned traditional midfielder. He does everything, defending and attacking. Attacking is preferred preference, but he's got everything, and he's only 17. I just hope City Dave brought it up regarding Sergio Aguero. He doesn't burn out too young.
He's been in the starting 11 48% of the times, and he's played 49% of the minutes. So he's obviously well thought of in the Bundesliga, isn't he, to get those kind of stats. Who's he up against in midfield, Dan? Who did you say for Dortmund?
Witsel, Royce,
Rayner's in there, and
Dahoud, Rayner.
Right, okay, so he's not doing too bad to get 50% of the stats there.
No, not at all.
It's quite very good play.
Hopefully he'll start then.
I think I mentioned Ward-Prowse the other day when we played Southampton. I think he's a really, really nice player. He's a good player, Ward-Prowse, and he's the set piece taker of that team, and you can guarantee he's on them.
Well, me and Dan were watching him carefully when we played Southampton.
Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, good free kick taker.
He's a tie.
Yeah.
You know, if he was in a top 14, you wouldn't be surprised, being in there. I just feel like players like Ward-Prowse and Lingard they're only in because injuries. You got to feel like maybe Jordan Henderson would wipe up one of them and play one of them out of the squad straight away. And I feel like Maddison deserves to be in if he were fit over the likes of those two in the end.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with that. Thoughts on Calvin Phillips?
I think he's a good player. I think he's a bit static, but he's certainly a really good young defensive midfielder. He's got a bright future.
When I said at the start of this section, where I said it's not a very strong midfield, I'm looking at this now, thinking there's an argument to say actually that's a really good young squad there. That's a really
Rice
good...
in it. Sorry.
Yeah, Declan Rice is in it. Yeah.
Yeah, what is there 6, 7 of them? There's only 3 places in midfield they're going to be playing for. So
yeah, so I'll read them out. I'll read them out again. Jude Bellingham, Phil Foden, Lingard, Mount, Phillips, Rice, and Ward-Prowse. It's not bad actually. Starting. Yeah, I'm starting to question myself now whether that is.
I'll tell you what, Mason Mount's developing into a cracking young player, and all he's starting to get. You know, Chelsea aren't maybe like they were under the old Mourinho and Ancelotti and stuff, and all these big team stuff. But he's getting some games. He's developing as well.
And he turned Tuchel's mind, didn't he? He dropped him on his first game, Tuchel. He dropped him out the whole squad. He was on bench or something like that. And I think he only just came on in the second half. And ever since then, he started every game. You know,
yeah, when it comes to England, I don't know if you guys are saying, but I don't care about club loyalties and stuff. I really enjoy watching England. I'm a massive England fan.
Only if there's City players to watch.
I don't ever even care. Honestly, I love what It's time to put allegiances to the side when England run. I'm like, yeah, let's have it. I don't care if even if Phil Jones are playing, I still get behind Phil Jones. But I'm happy to see these young lads in there, giving them the game time, and they're developing really well.
And on top of that, what's really nice is a lot of them have come through the ranks at England as well. The Mason Mount,
similar age group, aren't they?
Chelsea, but also them, Foden. They're all coming up through England ranks. So it's not like the England teams of before where it was like Liverpool, Man United, big bulk of them, and they hated each other at the club and they didn't mix during England because they hardly played. These lot have all grown up through the ranks at their own club together in some of them. But now they're also doing it England and have won with England as well. Was it
Calvert-Lewin and Foden
under 18s? Was it? Yeah, World Cup
under 17s.
They've got some of them in that team have got trophy for England. So
that's one thing that we've been missing over the years is actually getting these young lads that have developed through the younger ages into the team together. Maybe one or two will break through, whereas like now we're seeing 4 and 5.
Yeah.
And in the next few years, I might see another couple, adding into that, and obviously that's the generational link together, which is what you see from all the other big teams around Spain and France and Germany, and these have got young lads coming through that have been playing together for 10 years by the time they get to the national team.
It's exciting, really, isn't it? Thinking about it. Let's move on to the strikers because we need to talk about this one quickly. When I'm looking. Sorry, lads, I've lost my.
I've got it here right in front of you. If you want to go over it.
Oh, yeah, I've got it. Go on. Sorry, but I've got it. Calvert-Lewin, Harry Kane, Rashford, 𝐒𝐿𝐴, Saka, Sterling, Ollie Watkins. Ollie Watkins is an interesting one. Dan, what's your thoughts on Ollie?
Yeah, he's. You did say Dan, didn't you, not Brian?
Yeah, Dan, crack on.
Yeah, I don't know really. I wasn't that happy to see his name. Because one player, I don't know if he's injured. I think that's probably why. Harvey Barnes.
He's injured, mate.
He's injured, right? Season, yeah. Well, in that because Watkins can play left wing as well. I think Saka will play more left wing for England because he's a phenomenal talent. But Watkins is one of them where he's still relatively young. I think he's 24, 25. He was banging them in for Brentford last year, almost got promoted on the back of many games just for his goals. And I've not really been his biggest fan at Villa this year. He's a good player, but he's just there's something about him that's just a little bit off-putting for me. But he's like a pet player. He's so versatile, and you can play him wherever you really need him in that front line. He is quick. He is clinical. But I think a lot of them names, I'd probably push all those names ahead of him, personally.
Where's Sancho?
He's injured. So there's quite a lot. There's a large chunk of players that are injured that would probably make this squad. Sancho being one of them.
Okay.
Jeez, the sign John Stones was injured and keep him wrapped up.
Yeah, it worries me if John Stones going over there. 3 games with England and 1 trip over to Albania during a pandemic.
I don't think anyone's going to play the 3 games. You'll probably get 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Ollie Watkins was chosen over Bamford, which Southgate's actually said was a tight call.
Yeah.
And he's chose Bamford. He's chose Watkins, should I say, just for his pure work rate.
Well, do you know what?
It comes down to that. That's where you get an England squad work rate. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Bamford. He said Bamford's doing nothing wrong. And Bamford's like one of those sort of players that are probably going to miss out eternally. They're going to be on the periphery for a while. Which is, and I don't know if you noticed, but Antonio changed his allegiance to Jamaica, so that's why he's not there.
Yeah,
so he's the same sort of standard, I would say, as Bamford. They're really like Troy Deeney was. They're really, really good Premiership strikers. They're just that next level. You're looking for a bit more, which Watkins probably offers.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Harry Kane's an obvious one. Rashford's an obvious one. Sterling's an obvious one, although not the best at the moment. Calvert-Lewin, I can understand why. So yeah, I mean, looking at this team, I've just made a couple of notes of who I would select. Let me know what your thoughts are of this, lads. Pope, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Shaw. Midfield three of Mount, Rice, Foden, and up front I'd have Rashford, Kane, and Sterling. Let me know what your thoughts are of that.
Well, I mean, I'll just chuck mine straight out. I'd go with Pope. I think he'll probably opt for a back five.
Okay.
In the game, the other two, the Poland game is the most important one. So out of the other two, I'm just not really reading too much into it. So I think he'd go for a back five, and I think he'd probably play Trippier, Walker, Stones, and Maguire, Luke Shaw. That's your back five, and then Declan Rice, Mason Mount, maybe Phil Foden in the middle. And then your Harry Kane plus one other up front. So maybe Harry Kane and Rashford would be mine, I think. I mean, Sterling missing out just based on the fact that I think he likes Rashford more than just Sterling at the minute.
Personally, for me, I've never been the biggest. I know I completely agree with Brian. I think Southgate will play a back five, but I've never been a fan of back fives. I would play a back four hands down. You know my back five: Pope, Walker, Shaw, Maguire, Stones. I'd play a double pivot of Rice and Ward-Prowse, just for that solidity. Don't let the defence get a bit mixed up. Play Foden in centre, Rashford out on the left, Kane up front, and then Mount on the right.
That's why I went with the Phil Foden in there, because you could quite easily switch from being a 5-3-2 to a 3-4-3 with Foden occupying one of the wing spots.
That's the good thing about this England squad. It is sort of like an international Man City.
There's a lot of players in that team that can play a lot of positions. Yeah,
they can switch. They can play any formation. Them players. Ward-Prowse can play attacking. He can play defending. Mount can play on the wing. He can play central. Foden can play out on the wing. He can play central. There's only one player in that team in terms of midfield and onwards that can't rotate, and that's Kane. But he sort of...
don't want him to, you want him down the middle, don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, he can drop back and become the provider. We've seen him do it for Son this year for Spurs. It's just... There's something different about this England team that's been lacking for the past 20 years, so to speak. And
I think the word you're looking for is fluid. The formation is very fluid.
Yes. 100%.
Right, we are going to budge on from here. Give me 2 seconds. So the next one is we're putting in a bit of a new segment into our weekly shows, lads, and it's going to be a dilemma question. Now this is a really tough one for me, and I'm still very much on the fence. I've kind of got an inkling of where I want to go, but I want to hear your opinions on this. This is, who would you prefer to have, Yaya Toure or Kevin De Bruyne? Both in prime. Now the tough point with this is Kevin's not finished yet. Kevin's got a load of time left playing, so we're kind of taking him as he's. We just have to take for granted that he's in his peak now, or whenever he's ever been brilliant for us. Dan, I'm going to throw this to you, pal, because I've got a good idea of where I would go, and I'll tell you that afterwards. But I'd like to hear where you'd go, Dan, and why.
I think that is probably one of the tougher questions you could throw online of who would you say is more influential, Company or Silva type thing. It's one of them questions that there's no right answer. It's just based on opinion. I think that's what it comes down to. Me personally, on top of their game, on top of their form, top of the chart, Yaya for me. The only reason I base that on is Yaya can become part of a team in focalness towards. He can instigate the tempo of play. He can. It's hard to describe how he could influence the game more than De Bruyne, because I'm not taking anything away from De Bruyne, That's what I mean by the question's really hard to answer and get their opinion across, because a lot of what you can say about one player, the other player does as well. And I think that's where the opinion part comes into it. There's no right or wrong answer. But for me, Yaya just offered that, well, that drive for me. Kevin can switch off in games. He can have some proper poor games. Not that Yaya couldn't, but Yaya could make a lot out of nothing. He would smash teams running forward. Kevin, hands down, the better playmaker, hands down. Yaya would destroy teams with his presence in them. But that is the only thing that I can't add on to much more. That is literally why I've chosen Yaya, because he was a brute. Great free kick taker as well, but that's the only thing that pushes Yaya ahead of me. I'm not taking anything away from De Bruyne.
Tough one, isn't it? Brian, what's your thoughts, pal?
I'm not answering you, mate. I'm just gonna forget it. Too hard. No, I'm a De Bruyne fan, but I just want to say the reason why I find it so hard is because it's like a horses for courses thing. Yaya was the reason we won a lot early doors.
Yeah.
You know, and he will always be responsible for that. If there's one player I've ever seen with the grit, there's only two players that I've seen with balance like that. Thierry Henry is the only player I've seen that I watched live that it seemed like time stood still when he got the ball. It seemed to slow down. It was like beautiful flowing. With Yaya Toure, the ball could come at him, and any foot, it'd just be his body as shit as he passed, and his short passing, his angles and stuff, and his body weight was always perfect. And that gave him the spring then to be like this monstrous attacking midfielder. So that for me is he is the best at that we've ever had, and that is saying something. We've had David Silva in there, and we've got De Bruyne now. This
is definitely going to be a really good question to ask when Kevin retires, because he's got a lot of seasons left.
I like the reason why I've chose De Bruyne is our philosophy's changed, and that is all partly down to how De Bruyne has been for the last 5 years. He is our most dangerous player when he's on it and he's got the ball at his feet. I always think back to that assist he gave Leroy Sané from the right wing that went for across the whole back five.
Yeah.
Through two players on swing. Yeah. He has got that's something that he's got in his locker that no other player in the Premier League has got. And I don't even think Yaya Toure had that. You know, and that right now is instrumental to the way we play. He's got the same traits as Yaya. He can drag us forward, but having his ability to change games, to put passes, you know, on a sixpence, he has that, and he has that in his locker for 90 minutes. You know, and for me, having that sort of player in this sort of team, I find that he'd be more. I don't think Yaya Toure is be as effective in the team we've got now as De Bruyne is now. So I'm basing it off now. When he retires, maybe we can look back and change my mind. But for now, De Bruyne stands out for the way he's our engine. You know, he is, and he's kind of worth two players. And he's on the pitch. He's worth two players. He's that good that he commands the attention of the team to make. You can't stop him. He'll pick a pass out of nowhere. You know, he does drive with the ball like Yaya. He's obviously not as physical as Yaya, but he does drive with the ball. And there's one thing that I like about Kevin De Bruyne that nobody really talks about. He's got some bite. He's a bit spiteful, and I like that. You know, he'll go into a tackle. He don't care.
Yeah.
You know, he don't matter. He's on the peak of his powers, and he's just going to get stuck in, and he tries his very best. Might not always be the best, but he tries, and he can have a bad game, but you look at his stats, he's created 5 goal-scoring opportunities from a mediocre game, and I think that is more vital to us now.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Yaya Toure for me was a traction engine of a player. One side of me says Yaya for me because I have never sat on the end of my seat ready for Kevin De Bruyne to run with the ball. Every time Yaya Toure got the ball in the midfield, I'm like, go on, Choo, absolutely run at him. And I tell you, and it excited me. Just to give you some stats for Yaya. He had 8 seasons with us, which is phenomenal, really. Won 3 Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup, Charity Shield, and 3 League Cups. So what's that? That's 8 trophies. Now Kevin's won 8 trophies with us in 6 seasons. 2 Premier Leagues, 1 FA Cup, 1 Charity Shield, and 4 League Cups. We can't basically. If I could mould the two players into one perfect player, it would be Kevin De Bruyne and Yaya Toure, and just purely for the energy, the burst of power, the strength. He used to be like a bowling ball, didn't he? Going through midfield and going through defenders to be able to do that. The 2 different types of players. Kevin De Bruyne's range of passing, his ability to captain, the lack of idiot agent massively makes a play as well.
Yeah, I think that's what I was going to mention as well. He
doesn't open his mouth.
No drama. That's one thing.
Yeah,
that's one thing that's soured. That's one thing that I'm kind of upset about. Yaya, it's a bit soured, isn't it? You know, for City fans that have followed the club for years, you kind of always know now you'll be associated that Yaya had a bit of drama.
Birthday cake, bit of birthday cake. Yes, there's always a
bit of drama, a bit of something, you know.
And there's nothing like that with Kevin. Just to give you
nothing yet. Nothing yet.
I don't think. I don't think there will be.
I don't know, do we? That's the thing we don't know.
So Yaya played 316 games for City. He scored 81 goals. To give you an idea of win percentages, win numbers, he won 200 games, drawn 52, and lost 64. And Kevin's played 252 games, won 171, drawn 39, and lost 39. And scored 63 goals. Now, I would say those stats are pretty irrelevant, to want for a better word, because I think we're a better team than the team that Yaya played in. Now, I think we've got a bit more. I think Pep's a better manager than the manager when Pellegrini managed Yaya. Pellegrini and Mancini, wasn't it, if memory serves me right? Did he have anyone else as manager?
No.
No, I don't think he did. So for me, yeah, I'm urging the side of actually. Kevin's got so much time left. He's 29. He's probably got another 3 years at City. As long as he signs that contract, I'll be very.
I think you're probably looking at another 5 years at De Bruyne.
How old was Silva when he finished?
35.
Right. Well, there you go.
That's the level, isn't it?
Yeah, he's got another 6 years left.
And he's got that in him. And even if he loses, even if De Bruyne was to lose a yard or two of pace, I always think
the passing
you look at the career David Beckham had until he was 38, playing in these Paris Saint-Germain's, AC Milan's. He was still the best dead ball specialist. He was still the best passer, and having a De Bruyne who would sit a bit deeper and just dictate play, becomes a different player than Dunny, and he could do that all day. He's a fit guy. He could probably play to his 40 doing that.
Can I just say one more thing about Yaya before we move on, though?
Please do.
One word I will always, and I don't care what anyone says, associate him with, is underrated. He got the plaudits for being a great player, especially from City fans. But in terms of football players around the world, he was vastly underrated. That 2013-14 season everyone always highlights, that is one of the greatest across any league I've ever had the privilege to watch or anything. One of the greatest single player performances across an entire season I've seen from any midfielder, let alone attacker. He was phenomenal that season, but across his whole City career, including Barcelona, where he filled in at centre-back a lot of the time, vastly underrated for me.
I think your son Archie totally disagrees with you, and I think you're in for a right earful when you finish this.
He's still young. He's got time to agree with his dad. He's still very young.
That's why he locked him in the kitchen, isn't it?
He's got a bit of Yaya's in him. He's sulking a bit.
He has. He wants cake.
He got 2 birthday cakes for his. He got cake. So he can shut up crying.
So to answer the question, who would you prefer, Yaya or KDB? I think it's impossible to answer until KDB's finished his career. But I'm still inclined to say, if someone's going to put a gun next to my head, I'd say, do you know what? I think Kevin has done slightly more for us. I think he will go on to do more for us. And for a range of passing, I don't think, for a total range of passing from any player, I don't think I've ever seen a better one. I think David Silva's very good, but I think Kevin De Bruyne has just got that range of passing that could be phenomenal.
I think the way to sum it up is impossible, because, like, I can't remember which one of you two said it a moment ago, 2 very different scenarios in terms of teams and leagues back then. The team was hell of a lot poorer in Yaya's reign compared to what Kev's in now, but a completely different league as well. You know, there's only what 3 teams maximum over the past 5 years that have been really in contention for the league title, and that's Liverpool, City, and United. Back when Yaya was playing, there was potential of Liverpool. There was Chelsea, obviously, a couple of times. We had Leicester in there, us, United as well. The league was much more open, and I think we see that with the points difference as well. The points in which us and Liverpool have reached over in the period of 5 years has been it's never heard of before. And I think that's why for me it comes down to just opinion on the players who you prefer more. I just think the word I'd use is impossible to compare.
You know, I don't know if you're ready to move on, Tom, but I feel like we are very, very, very lucky to have had these 2 players play for our clubs. You know, we're having this conversation about 2 of the Premier League's greatest ever players, and they've both played for our team. You know,
phenomenal, really.
How lucky we have been spoiled with that. You know, just 15 years ago, 2 of our best midfielders were from the 70s. You know, weren't they? And now look at it. Now you're arguably talking about Yaya Toure, who's won everything.
I think you're doing a massive disservice to Kevin Horlock. To be honest, I think it's a disgrace.
Oh yeah, you know, but you know what I mean, though. But like now, look how lucky we are to be discussing these 2 players that have played and not just had a few games. They've had exceptional careers at City,
yeah,
and we're very, very fortunate.
Very well said.
Let's not forget about one player in the noughties that deserves a good shout out, and that's Karadi.
I thought you were going to say Steve McManaman then. I was about to just come off.
Oh, God, you're joking. I'm not saying his name on this. Can't stand him now.
Right, on that note. Bloody hell. On that note. Right, so we're going to move on to a little bit of news now. We're nearly finished for the day. So, this happened a few months ago. It's happening again now. So why they didn't do it all in the full few months ago, I don't know why. But City are to reduce the capacity of the Etihad Stadium by 1,100 seats to fit new electronic advertising hoardings in. So what's happening? I've done a bit of reading for this. I hope you don't mind me jumping on this, Dan. So up to 3 rows from the north, east and south stands are going to be removed, which will reduce the capacity to around 54,000 fans in the stadium. However, they've kind of given us a shit good news sandwich here. Give somebody the bad news, then the good news, then the bad news. They're going to put plans in place to increase the capacity of the stadium up to 60,000 by increasing the north. Is it north stand? Is it the south stand that's updated? I've not been to the stadium for that long. I've completely forgotten. So, there's 2 things with this. I'm all for more generating money. There's going to be no issue with line of sight. So if you're currently in the stadium at the moment and you're worried about your seat being taken, you would have already been in touch. City would have already been in touch with you to solve this. There's going to be no line of sight, so if you're sat in front of one of these or behind one of these, you're still going to be able to see the pitch, no problem. These are for billboards that if you look opposite the stadium to where the billboard normally is, the electronic one, they'll basically be double the size from now on, so it'll look as if they're double the size essentially, which is quite clever, I think, from that side of things. But the City are doing this again. They're moving people that have a home at a football ground. When I went to Main Road, I had my seat there for years and years and years and years, decades, and I stayed the same, and I built fantastic relationships with the fans all around me. Within the first, I can't remember how many seasons at the Etihad, did exactly the same thing, built fantastic relationships, and then they moved our seats to be in the executive spongy ones, so they increased the price. I think they doubled, or the 40% increase, I think it was, in our season tickets, which we did for 1 season, but just wasn't sustainable. It's all well and good getting a free program and all that, but it just financially just wasn't sustainable. So they're doing it again, City, and it's miffing me a little bit. What else are they going to do to people that have got 1,100 people are moving seats? It's not good, that. I don't know. I kind of think, I say that to myself. Then we just talked about having Yaya Toure and Kevin De Bruyne play for us. We've got to be able to pay for them somehow, haven't we? But it just doesn't fit right to me. I don't know.
I mean, 1,100 seats, people being moved is the maximum it could be. It's probably likely to be a third of that. on them top rows, how many people are likely to be long-term season ticket holders, that sit on those rows.
Yeah, it's
not
a fair point. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if it makes us more marketable, and if in 2-3 years' time we increase the capacity again, it's only kind of planning for the future, if you know what I mean.
Future-proofing.
It's future-proofing, yeah. And these sort of advertising boards, you got to look at it, and it's extra money in it, and it's more. I think it's kind of based off Spurs' stadium is the next level above what ours was. Ours is it's aging now, isn't it, really? But the average obviously adding to it. But you got to look at how the ground can be marketed for other things, and used to say that they wouldn't use it for American football. Used to say it shouldn't be in a venue for massive outdoor boxing. Now it's going to be getting close to being the perfect place for boxing in the northwest. Everyone knows Old Trafford's bigger, but look at accessibility and what's around the city ground at the minute. It's just giving other options and other financial ways in. And if a few people have to move for that, I feel like it's probably worth it in the end. In the grand scheme of things,
yeah.
Some people have to take it on the chin. I'm sure they will be compensated for it when it comes down to it.
From what I've read into it, the people that are moving, some of the seats that have been told, they've been moved to higher priced seats, but the price of their tickets will remain the same as the previous price.
Yeah, so there's your inconvenience taken care of.
Yeah. The seats, so some of them, not most of them, just some of them are in better priced seats. But completely agree. What we've got to understand now, from what my personal point of view is, we're no longer just a football club. We're an agency in essence. We've got things about us now. We're a brand rather than just a football club. We've got clubs around the world now. It's all about advertisement now, and if we're going to attract the best players, got to have a bigger stadium. Some players want big stadiums to play in, stuff like that. I heard somebody on Twitter, where you can read into it, City aren't even done with just adding to the north stand. They want to do all four corners to make it a free tier all the way around, which increase capacity and everything like that. But I'd love that. I've always wanted that ever since they did the South Stand. Ever since they did that, I'd love that all the way around.
I don't like it. It doesn't look right. It was either the Etihad at one shape or it's going to be bigger. You can't have one bit of an arse hanging out at the end. I don't like it.
Yeah.
The same all the way around for me.
When they originally drew up plans, it did have both ends exactly the same. So I think it was always going to come to it.
It's like you say, it's natural progression. Eventually, there will come demand for more tickets where it will take its effect and it'll be bigger. Like right now, there's no point in us going to a 70,000 seat stadium because as much as we all don't want to admit it, we probably wouldn't fill it, and that is not a good. You spend a lot of money, and what's the point?
But that's where my sort of argument would come in, because City now, as much as the likes of yourselves, I never really had I've never had a season ticket. I never had a regular seat at the Etihad. I struggled to get to most games as it is. I've been obviously plenty of times, but not to really. It's my home, I'd always talk about the Etihad as my home because I never went to Main Road. But especially in the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years or something like that, since City started branding themselves and becoming a top team, I've seen less original supporters going to the club now, watching games, and more of the, not in the use of words in terms of nationality, but more foreign fans, in terms of fans that would never normally come to the game on a regular. They'd come for the odd one-off. There's a load of advertisements for seats and stuff like that. Like there was before, but not on the scale there is now. And I think that's maybe why as well. They're gonna move these players, the inconvenience, the fans' inconvenience of these fans. Yes, these diehard fans that play season tickets. But City, for me, I think are looking at this like what Brian says, inconvenience of these fans. Move them out of the way. We're going to build a big stand suit more people coming in. And I think that's what City are looking at it more. So in a way, I'm sort of peed off because the die-hard fans that pay good money to pick out these seats to come watch City every game are being moved for the likes of the ones that attend 2 or 3 games and don't really have a full affiliation with the club, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I mean, they are being rehoused. They're being rehomed somewhere else, aren't they?
Yeah.
There's convenience being given to them. You know, it's life. Things move on. You know.
Yeah.
We could have quite easily just said to him, right, your season tickets being moved, sort something out for yourself. We could have done that. I'm sure
True.
there's clubs that do that. You know, but I feel like when it comes to commercial decisions like that, I still feel like City have still got that little bit of old school, keep the community together. As much as the community's bigging and bursting now, try and keep that ethic there. And I feel like they still try to do that as best as they can. And that's the best we can hope for. Still try and keep an identity.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And you know, I'm really keen to do the expansion on the other side. I want all my lights just gone. I want thousands of blues in that stadium, thousands and thousands and thousands for match days. I think that would just make it an absolutely brilliant experience for everyone involved. But we'll move onwards and upwards. The final question, the question of the end, lads, and this is something to everyone to have who's listening to this on the podcast. Thank you very much for listening. If you do listen to this, please leave us a review. It literally takes 45 seconds to scroll to the bottom, leave us 5 stars and put a few comments. It matters to us so much. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do the same again. And we're going to leave you with this one question, which us 3 are going to be talking about now. Champions League final, penalty kicks. We have a full squad, and you can choose from the full squad that's there now. Who are your 5 penalty takers? That is the question I'm going to put out to you 2 right now. So we answer this. Everyone have a think about it. Let us know on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Let us know who your penalty takers are. We'll put you into a competition with us to win a free snood. I've got a couple to give away. But you 2, who are your 5 penalty takers? Let's see if we can box this off now. Sergio's one, isn't he?
We're doing 5 here. I was just going to put our 5 out there.
Yeah,
to go first?
Yeah, go for it, pal, yeah.
Fully fit squad, best team available. Aguero, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Ederson, Sterling.
Ooh.
I like Sterling. Sterling, hey, that one he won the Carabao Cup final with crossbar
against Chelsea. Yeah, no, I'm
why not?
Yeah.
Aguero, Gundogan, De Bruyne, Ederson, and Foden.
And Foden. So you both put in Ederson.
I think I agree that maybe Foden / Sterling could be the choice of that, depending. I'll be happy with either.
The thing with Sterling, I think he has a tendency to let things get to him, and we saw that in the previous penalty he took. He skied it. He has on-off with the penalties, and I think that's what damages him more. He's not a regular penalty taker for me, and I think that's why I wouldn't have him. I'd have him as probably my 6th or 7th, you know, if it went on that long. But he's certainly not in the top 5 for me.
Oh, it's a tricky one, this. So my first 4: Sergio, KDB, Gundogan, Mahrez, and do you know what? I'd stick John Stones in to give it an absolute thunder bastard right down the middle. I think John Stones would be right.
Not fancy Ederson doing that.
I don't think Ederson would take one, but yeah.
I think he would. I'd probably think if it came to it, I wouldn't be surprised if he was the first one up. He has got balls that come in the size of a dump truck, and you think, give me the ball, I'm off. He'll probably take it. I'm going straight in, boss.
Just pick the ball.
It's either going to smash it down the middle and probably break the keeper's arm, or it's going to go out the stadium into orbit. It doesn't really matter. He's you know, one or another. I'd happy to take both.
How's he going to run with balls the size of dump trucks?
He don't need to. Yeah, he needs to run. He just needs to step up, doesn't he? Just needs to step up.
One big stride and wallop.
I love it. Right, we'll leave you as that, lads. So some good ones there. There's loads of KDBs, Sergio's and Gundogans. You 2 have gone for Ederson, Sterling and Foden. I've gone for Mahrez and Stones as my backups.
Mahrez, though, I don't...
Mahrez in current form's a good shout. Mahrez in current form's a good shout.
He has more shots than any other player on that team.
But he's also...
He knows where the goal is.
But also that one against Liverpool when he blazed it over.
I think that'll be in his mind.
I still can't forgive him.
No,
And he has statistically in the penalties he's taken, he's got one of the worst penalty records the Premier League's ever seen.
Hey, damn it! What a chance to put that to
he's
bed,
going to
mate.
put it
in the
right.
Champions League final.
I tell you what, I bet he'd be well up for it. He'd have the whole of Algeria, Egypt, and most of Africa on his hands, just on his side. I think he'd slot it away easily. I think if we get another chance to have a couple of penalties, I think he needs to take one just to get his confidence back up. I probably won't be saying that if he gets one on Saturday. I'll be thinking, why the fuck are you picking that ball? You put that ball down. I'm going to change my opinion. I'll let you know later. You've sold me out of it. Right, lads, thank you very much for watching us. That's been a long one, that. 1 hour and 10 minutes. Thank you very much, boys, and thank you for everyone and listening and watching. This has been the Manchester's Blue Show. This has been Brian. This has been Dan. See you soon, boys.
Till next time.
Take care.